It's Justin from Severed Books, and today we're going to go over Sickest Witch, the new system that we are creating. And I'm really excited. Been running Severed Books for 13 years, and I really never thought I wanted to create a system until I got a bunch of good feedback. Really great feedback after PAX Unplugged and Page, the Philly Area Gaming Expo. But yeah, let me back up. If you're unfamiliar with Sickest Witch, let me explain just super fast the history of it. In 2018, Beneath the Inverted Church came out, or I put out Beneath the Inverted Church, and in it there's witches from an area on the map called Black Branch, and I've always been probably more interested in them than the rest of the giant story. After creating a couple of the NPCs, Emily of Black Branch is pretty much the main one in the story. I just really couldn't get my mind off that little piece of the world, I guess sometimes when you're playing a game or reading a book, sometimes there's a village or a town or something far off, and maybe that's more interesting than the main story because you just don't know much about it and your imagination kind of takes over a little bit. So that's what happened to me. Beneath came out in 2018. People still buy it. People still love it, which is awesome. Those are Morkborg. I did a conversion for Morkborg just recently, so that spurred extra interest in Beneath. But so that was 2018. I think in 2019, it was really soon after I released Sickest Witch, the card game. And that's sold out now. There was an expansion called Sickest Wizard for it as well, and that's gone. And I might reprint that depending on the success of the Sickest Witch system. So there's that. And then much more recently, I did a module called Hayride, Sickest Witch Hayride for Morkborg. And that's the one that got a lot of attention, particularly at PAX and Page. So coming back from PAX, I was super inspired and sat down and just started hammering out the system. And I feel like I would never even attempt to do such a thing unless I knew that it had something special to offer people. And I'm pretty confident that it does. There's a couple things in the book mechanics that really make it thematically special and fun. So what I'm going to do in this series of videos is go over the character sheets. There's a thing called the drop spine ritual that literally turns the book into a playable object with dice. And there's mechanics where you share resources via cauldrons, almost like Dark Souls, like campfires, where you can kind of summon NPCs and items out of a cauldron when you do a long rest. It's called a long call. And there's some other small things. You obviously since it's Sickest Witch, there's body horror in it, and it's folk horror, and you're harvesting organs to imbue them with magical powers. So that's what I'm going to go over today with a character sheet and show you exactly how that works. So thank you so much, Sickest Witch. Let's get into this character sheet. All right, so Sickest Witch character sheet. It's going to look pretty familiar to people that play RPGs. Modifiers are right in the middle here under this cute dagger. So we have Fist for strength, fighting, grappling, lifting, pretty normal stuff. Flesh, that's your durability. It's going to be resistance to physical attacks. Nothing new there. Nerve, that's your agility. So for climbing, swimming, jumping, balancing on slippery logs. Network, that is your anything really mental. So your perception, your aiming, your charm. So all that is really normal. We're going for OSR, very simple stats. The last one is Cauldron. So that's going to be all your magic stuff. Pretty simple. You'll have a shared pool of magic points for your party. That's different for Sickest Witch. And but yeah, all your modifiers are going to be right there. It's a D20 system. Probably should have said that up front. So there's really nothing is going to be unusual for that fiddly bit. Up here you have slots for your spells. Also, let me say that like this is a utility belt. So in Sickest Witch, the witches harvest organs from humans, hearts, hands, livers, eyeballs, and they take this material called stained salt, which they found in this mine not too far from their town. And the stained salt mine will be part of the introductory adventure that's in the core book. It's going to be a pretty, I'm going to say robust adventure, but probably a 1 to 2 night adventure in the back of the book. So stained salt, they take victims, they take people and bad people, and they harvest organs and they imbue them with power with the stained salt, and they shove them in these utility belts. So imagine you're wearing this pretty cool, I want to say Batman-esque leather utility belt with all these pouches and pockets. So that's what this is. And what'll happen is at the bottom you have slots for different pieces. So we have brain, eye, tongue, hand, heart, liver, lung, kidney, foot. And those are the types of body parts that you can harvest and imbue with power depending on the spell that you have. So just for instance, we're walking through the forest and we come upon a couple bandits, and our coven decides to dispatch them really quickly. You can, depending on the conditions, you can usually harvest just one body part from that human being. So let's just say when I was setting up my character, I think you're allowed 3 spells for level 1. I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm not even going to write anything. Just imagine those are 3 spells that I've written down. And I know because I've written down brain and eyeball and hand right here, I know really quickly what I need to create that spell. So going through the forest, came upon these bandits. Say there's 3 players and there's 3 bandits. Like really lucky that there's the same amount for all of us. You can harvest 1 body part per human. Sometimes there's conditions where you can harvest more than 1, but I decided to harvest an eyeball. So I'm going to just kind of tick the eyeball slot right here, and now I have one in the eyeball slot. Anytime that I want, I would probably do it immediately, is I would transfer this almost like currency to create the spell. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to erase. And if I was doing it right away, I didn't even have to write it down. I'd just be like, you know what? I have this spell now because I took the eye, and now I'm just going to put like a little X by this spell, knowing that I have it. And what'll happen is throughout the game, if you go into combat one more time, or multiple times really, because it's going to happen a lot, I know that I have this spell to cast because I created it from the eyeball. I salted it, put it in my pouch, and now I'm pulling it out to cast it. You roll the d20 to see if it's successful using your cauldron modifier. If it is successful, the eyeball does whatever magic stuff that it does, and then you roll a d10. Looking around my... oh my god, look. I have a d10. You roll a d10, or is it a d4? I can't remember. I think different spells have different... Right now, different spells have different dice for the withering, but they have a chance of, every time you cast it, to... the part like dissolves and withers away, and you no longer have that part anymore. It's a slightly remote chance just to provide a little more tension in the game. I rolled a 7. I'm going to say the part is totally fine. I still have that spell to use later on. There's also, if you do a critical miss, if you roll a 1 for your test on the cauldron modifier for casting a spell, there's a critical withering sort of table, and dark, interesting things happen when the spell fails as well. So that's it in a nutshell with the character sheet. with the new mechanic with the body parts. You also have right here your total body part capacity. So at different levels, you can hold more and more pieces. Slots for armor, weapons, items here. This is all spells. I think once you level up, the max level is 8, and I think the total number of spells you can have is either 18 or 20. I can't remember. So you have pretty good amount of room just for the name of the spell, and then you can reference the player's guide or ask your GM or just write down notes as to what the spell actually does. And that's pretty much it. There's encumbrance, which matches your fist 3d6 score. And then there's special runes here that you get at the beginning of the game, which is like a free daily spell that adds a little bit of flavor. So yeah, Sickest Witch, man, coming to Kickstarter in late March 2025. And this is really one of like 4, talking about this here, the body piece part, one of 4 mechanics that make this system really shine, really make it really different. So thanks for checking out Sickest Witch. See you soon.